Okay folks, in this video series we're going to do 3 kicks. We're going to do the front kick, the roundhouse kick, and the side kick. And because the whole premise here is beginning tutorial, how to start, how to do it properly, learn the basics and stuff like that, we're going to use a prop. So in this case it's a tree, but it also behaves like a wall, but you could also have a chair. If you're going to use a chair or whatever prop that you're going to use, make sure that when you apply force to it, when you're using it for balance, it doesn't tip over. So be careful with that. If you're going to be outside, look at the ground first and move away any sticks or something that you can slip and fall with. We're going to assume that you're all stretched out, so this way we don't make the video super long by going through the stretches. I do have some videos on that, so I'll put some links to that. So be stretched out. The clothing that you're going to wear, ultimately the goal that you're looking for is to have something that's not going to restrict your range of motion. It could be tight or it could be loose. But one problem that happens initially, and as you actually sweat, whatever you're wearing, sometimes your pants, it happens to me a lot on loose pants as well, okay, it starts to cling to your leg. When you lift your knee up, okay, the material bites on the leg and it doesn't slide up and so when you lift up and it bites, you actually get restricted. And you get this whole mental thing because you're so prepared that the whole kick and the lift and everything is going to go really smooth. And the moment it actually doesn't, it throws you off. And oftentimes, as you continue through the whole flow, you wind up compensating and or doing some kind of improper technique. And then that's where you get a lot of pulls, a lot of strains, a lot of stuff happen on that. Even when it's some kind of debris on the ground that's a little uneven. And when I'm going through the pivot, that little uneven, if I didn't just stop right there, okay, and I still also did the kick, boom, I may not pivot entirely, and then it's almost like I don't have the full range, I don't have the full stretch, part, angle, correct angle for the kick, and you wind up pulling something and stuff. So we got that out of the way. There's been a bunch of friends that I see in person on the field who've been interested in learning some basic kicks and stuff. And some online as well. So big shout out to Greg and a big shout out to Christy. We're going to do kicks that are kind of classic for multiple styles across the board. Okay, my training is Taekwondo, but these kicks like the front kick, they're not really exclusive to one style. They're shared by so many, and most of the techniques involved are also shared or constant through those styles. Okay, the front, wearing shoes, not wearing shoes, that's up to you. The front kick, it's easy not to wear shoes, but you're going to need to get the toes correct. So before we do the kick, the way the foot is the number one thing on the front kick is the toes are up. So you're going to point the toes up. The reason, if that's a wall, the reason is if the toes are down and you do your front kick and you smash your toes, that's not fun and stuff. So I'll show you. Okay, the foot is pushed down as much as possible. Okay, the toes are pointed up and you're hitting with the balls. You're hitting with the balls of the foot. Okay, so the foot all the way down, toes up, strike with the balls of the foot. Okay? Not this. You could strike with the flat foot. You want to kick in the door or something like that, or you want as much surface area, that's fine. But what we're doing is we're learning the basics. We're starting from the beginning, and you're starting from a proper classic strike. So yes, another one of my premises here is, we have 2 premises. One, to help you with your exercises and stuff, and to just spice up your exercise and physical activity. So it doesn't mean that you're going to use these kicks or do anything more with them other than exercise. And 2 that I have in my mind is a little emphasis or consideration for self-defense. If you're going to incorporate this in anything that you're doing, you might as well learn something that's actually effective as well, since they do have a origin in combat, in martial art. So we're going to teach you the proper, basic, classic ones. And so there's One of them is none more classic than the front kick. Legendary one, easy one, incredibly effective, well balanced, speed, power, the ability to do it. Anyone could do it, even if you messed it up, okay? You still, with a shoe on, all right? And at the very least, you could turn it into a punt and go for the groin. But it is not a punt, okay? So again, put the whole foot down and put the toes up. So when we began learning this kick, we used to walk around. The teacher said, go home, walk around like that, get used to it. Get used to walking on the balls of your feet. When I was in class, when I sat down at the desk doing my work or whatever, I just kept. And not only that, you're going to find that maybe some of your toes, so I practiced also the toes. Getting the toes up, all right? So that's your kick, all right? Believe it or not, you can do it with your shoe. You will be able to do it with your shoe, unless your shoe is so brutal and so stiff. And if it is, I'll tell you exactly what happens with a stiff shoe, so be careful. With a stiff shoe, you're going to, the foot is not going to feel any of that plane change, that relationships for striking. So it's going to constantly tempt you to strike right here. Similar to when you're learning or you're just starting or you just occasionally play soccer, okay? And you're going to want to just strike right at that tip to smash the ball when there's much more control on the inside. You want to do the tips. You got to be careful, okay? Because you got those big combat boots on. You want to smash the tip. It's not the tip. Somehow aim for over here. It's the proper. That's the proper technique and stuff. So make a little contact with your surface, and you could feel that. You could feel why it's stable, and you're going to want to hit here. You're not going to want to hit here. Even with your shoe on, that's this. That's that type of kick. Like I said, in self-defense or whatever, completely fine, excellent and stuff. But we're going to learn the basics, and then you'll be able to modify it and stuff. So I'll also go back and forth and just make sure that my video doesn't do anything funny, because occasionally it does, and I'll wind up wasting footage. All right, so I'll be able to explain it so that you can just learn it and remember some of the parts and have your little video or have your phone on the side in case you need to look it up. Or if you want to actually walk straight through the process, I'll also walk you straight through the process and stuff. All right? So constantly checking because you will slip. You can definitely slip. This will be your prop, like a wall that you can lean on and stuff. So the first thing that we're doing is this whole lift up range, all right? And this is cool. The foot that stays on the ground is your pivot foot, your planted foot, and your pivot foot. There's not too much pivot on a front kick. And this one is your chamber. This is the striking foot. So this is the chamber position. You're in a chambered position, which is ready to strike. When you lift up, you're lifting up as much as you can, okay? And then you'll feel it, and then you'll want to start coming down naturally. The point where you've reached the max, right before you start coming down, is the point for the strike. All right? When you strike, you're not going all the way back, but you can play with some positions, and there is some play. Okay? When you're doing the kick, you notice the planted foot. There could be a slight movement. The number one goal here is whatever you do, don't be going up on the toes of your planted foot. Don't be coming up like that. That's a completely unbalanced move, and in any type of combat or scuffle or whatnot, even if you were up on your toes when you made contact with just an inanimate object or a heavy bag, you could lose balance, or it could just throw you way back. There's time and place for everything, but you don't go up on your toes on any of your kicks, at least fundamentally in the beginning and stuff. Okay, so get your wall. Lean on it like this, or get really close if you want, like that. It doesn't have to be like this. Sometimes when you're doing some kicks, you want more of an angle and stuff, but not for your front kick. So for your front kick, it's whatever can give you a little bit of a brace and stuff. But don't do it completely lean so that you're learning your technique on some kind of crazy angle, right? So you're lifting up. Make sure that your foot is proper. Have a little consideration for this. You're doing this all slow. Because if you don't pay attention to your foot, it's loose. And when you're throwing your kick and you throw with a loose foot, that's when you can also do some sprains and strains and things like that. Keep in mind that these moves, all of these kicks I'm showing you, they have an end range of motion. And what I mean by that is that you will be locking. So your leg will be locking. And in fact, even though you might be a little nervous about that, and doctors are going to tell you heaps of stuff, how martial arts are terrible for your joints and things like that. But truth of the matter is, everything is terrible for your joints. Everything is terrible for you. So that's not going to stop us from doing it so long as we're conscious about it. Of course, if you have any complications or whatnot, okay, consult additional help, physio trainers and your doctor and stuff like that. I'm only telling you stuff that I do. I'm not directly telling you that this is what you have to do, because I don't know your situation. But I am showing you the technique. And when you have the proper knowledge and the go-to, and you've confirmed that it's okay for you, whatever, this is the techniques that you're going to be doing and stuff. So you got your wall, you got your lift up. Make sure that you're okay, and then out, back, down. So lift up, strike out, back, down. Now what we're trying to avoid is no cheating, especially when you start getting a flow to it and you start blending the steps. No cheating, no throwing the kick as you're already out, and that happens a lot when we're trying to go faster. We start cheating the steps and stuff. So it's up, out, in, down. Up, out, in, down. In the beginning, the most classic position for your hands is at least one stays up and one goes down as a counterbalance for the move. So, okay? It's extreme and drastic, and I suggest not if you're doing both of them and stuff, unless you're in a movie shoot and you're looking to, have a poster and stuff. You're not doing that. At least one is up. At least one is up. Not only is it for sound defense, okay, it's actually a balance is here as well. So one can go down. Okay, that's in the beginning. And oftentimes it's almost like you're clearing out. Okay, eventually what you're going to shoot for, and which is also a great workout, part of a great workout, is you're going to shoot for keeping both of them up. And you can do this in regular standing, very wide, okay? So I suppose that's another video as well, but it's still gonna be relevant here. So what we call it, the basic stance, one of the basic stances, we call it a sparring stance, okay? It's a comfortable stance, it's pretty mobile, it's not super wide, and traditionally it's somewhere around shoulder width, your two legs, and your lead leg, okay, is a little bit forward, and your back one. And if I'm facing you, my 2 feet are not facing you though, because now we're much more into a front stance and stuff like that. That's not what a sparring stance is. Yes, this is the same thing as in boxing. So they the feet rotate a bit. So they're sort of 45s. They're sort of 45s from you. This is your sparring stance. When you're in this stance and you throw a kick with your lead, the front, okay, those are called instant kicks. When you throw the ones in the back, those are called just your regular kicks, your power kicks, okay? So thrusting stuff. Instant kicks. Instants are kind of hard because you don't have that momentum. You're not bringing that momentum with you to throw the kick, but they're also really great and for training and practice and stuff. So, all right. Practice ones where you're compact and much more bended. You can go all slow, and you can have it here as well. All right. So if this is too much because I'm facing the camera, I may just this way. You could totally do low. You could totally go low on it if you want and starting out low, okay? But just don't cheat the steps. Bring the chamber up, kick down, bring it back, all right? Things to practice up on the balls of your feet, okay? And also get used to this. Keep the foot down, keep the foot ready in the position if you want. You could keep the foot loose up to that point if eventually you are getting good at being able to actually get it in the correct position when you throw it. Why? In technical senses and in much more pro level stuff, you might want to mask your stuff and not telegraph it. It's a small telegraph, but nevertheless, it's a telegraph. So I could lean up against the wall, all right, and push in and hold it, because you're not going to be used to this. So you need to get used to that and hold that, okay? And also put your body out properly. Same on this side. So lean against the wall a little bit, push up, and hold it. Push in, so you get used to that, all right? Do here as well. Out, in, up, out. All right? If you find that your kick is coming out in the thrust, but mostly because the gravity is taking it or whatever, lower your kick a little bit, lower the chamber a little bit then to up here. The point is, have some repetitions where this part stops moving, so that now the force, because all the force is happening, okay? And it's coming, and now it's shooting out. But if you're coming also back down, you're taking some of that force back away. No, back away. As all that force is developing, you shoot it out too early, and it's like, oops, it's like spillage as well. One entire flow. Okay? You could do this completely in place, even if you were stepping. So, even if you were going to do the back, down, bring this left to this right, and you, again, so I make sure that my feet are in the camera. You're coming down, right? I'll do a low one. Down. Practice at least three different positions when you're coming down, and that's really good for you. Whichever it is, instinct or whatever. So this, and then come down. Some people like to do a really classic and bring back, and then do whatever they want to do with it. Okay. I think there's a slight version of that happening when you're planting it in the new instant lead spot. So when you're coming out, there's no point in bringing it all the way back to bring it all the way back out. So there's sort of a little balance involved, and then you're coming some in extreme, and sometimes for your mental to get you out of that comfort zone. Whatever you do, the moment that you finished in the lock, drop. Drop, because it happens all the time. Drop. Get off this whole taking your time to find a spot, okay? But your three positions. So the one forward, okay? One back to your regular sparring stance, and then one that changes your stance by going back. And that one, yeah, so you're gonna do a little bit of a rotation. Be mindful of the surface, be mindful of what you're wearing or not wearing. Are you slippery? Are you slipping? Are you sticking? If you're sticking and you don't get the movement of your foot when it wants to move, you're increasing your chances of getting groin tears and stuff. Number one area, number one. Number two, hamstrings, okay? Number two, B, and somewhere mixed in, knee. Okay, definitely. So, if you have enough room or whatever, then kicking and landing forward is your advancing and stuff. So, as a good practice in the end, get these tight. Is it not really doing you much if they're just going to be loose and you're forgetting about it and all you're doing is holding them up there? Keeping them tight. Catch yourself with that all the time. Okay? Up, down, down, down. I do a lower one for you. And come down. Do a little bit of a sit. If you know you can do this and you feel comfortable or whatever, then you got a good situation and stuff. All right. The reason why we're doing front kicks, roundhouse kicks, and side kicks is because each one uses techniques from the other and kind of advances and progresses with the technique and stuff. So I'll show you why and what.